Hey everybody, this is Mark Allen here with Allen's Guide and Tour Service on Caddo Lake. Just want to talk with y'all a little bit today about some techniques that we're using down here on Caddo and catching some good fish on. It's an old tried and true technique. It's a couple of things that may be a little bit different from what some of you guys are doing out there with the punching technique. Punching is it's kind of a heavy duty hand-to-hand combat type way to catch some good fish, and I've had a lot of success on it over the years. Rayburn, Toledo Bend, all those places had good hydrilla. Caddo has got good hydrilla. It's not a deep water lake like those two are. We're flipping and punching grass in about 4 to 5 foot most of the time or less. You know, the hydrilla mixed in there with pads and things like that. But those fish are still relating to it, and they're getting up underneath that cover, and you can pull out a good sack of fish if a man knows kind of what to do and how to go about doing it. Today I want to talk with you about some of the equipment that you use for punching and being able to catch some of these good Caddo Lake fish. First thing you want to do is you want to have your good rod, at least 7 foot, heavy action type rod. I prefer the Falcon Kara series and that Kara Amstead, about 7.3 in length. It's a good all-around rod. I use it for a bunch of different things, but it's a great punching rod, as well as being very versatile in other techniques that you can use it for. The other thing you want to have is a good reel. You need a reel with at least 20 pounds of drag, braking system on it, where when you hit that thing, it's not going to be slipping on you. You tighten that star drag down all the way, and you can't pull that line out by hand. And when you hit that good fish, you know you're going to have him moving. He's going to be coming to the boat. So, you know, it's a couple of reels that I like to use in regard to that. One is the Lew's Super Duty and the 8-to-1, and I also like the Revo Abu Garcia reel to use. Both of those, but actually the Revo have a little bit better braking system. I'm not sponsored by either one of those reel companies. They're just good reels and a good all-around product, good quality for a fisherman to use. Another thing that you want to have is a good braided line. And there's a lot of braided line companies out there as well. I use Sunline. They've been good to me, and I use a 60-pound test in that Sunline braid at FX2. 60-pound test gets it done where I want to be able to fish. Now there's 2 or 3 techniques, or 2 or 3 little adjustments that you can make when you're punching, and I want to go over those with you real quick and show you some different characteristics of each one, and to kind of leave some things up for debate with you as a fisherman. First thing I want to talk about is rigging. Okay, outside of the rod, reel, and line, which is very important, you got to get down to the critical part, the part that's doing the sticking of the fish. So let's talk about that and how we can get the fish in the boat. First thing I'm going to do is I'm putting a bobber stopper on my line, as you can see here, and then I'm adding my 1 ounce weight in there, and then I'm putting another bobber stopper back behind that. Now what that's going to do is that gives me a little bit of cushion down there, right there where the soft plastic is coming out of the top of the hook, where it's not banging that 1 ounce weight or 1.25 ounce weight. It's not banging against that soft plastic, bunching it up, trying to push it down your hook where it doesn't have that good streamlined look to it. So that's why I'm using that second bobber stopper down there underneath that 1 ounce weight. Now I'm going to rig a couple of hooks up. I've already got one rigged up, and I want to show you a couple of things. It's kind of up for debate and something that you can kind of make your choice on, but I've used X-point hooks for quite a long time. They've been good to me. Haven't had any problems with them, and landed a lot of big fish and a lot of heavy cover. But I'm using the X-point 4/0 hook is the size that I like to use on my soft plastics when I'm punching grass. It's a heavy duty, strong, quick penetrating type hook. But I'm going to take this hook and we're going to tie just a regular old Palomar knot. Quick, simple knot to use. Most of you guys probably tie that with just about everything. and that's what I use. Now, a lot of times I'm kind of on the paranoid edge. I was fishing a lot when the braid first come out, and you're trying to find different knots to tie where the thing doesn't slip or anything like that, so you're not pulling the line out. But the Palomar knot does a good job. A lot of times I'll tie just a little safety knot in the tag, and a lot of people say I'm paranoid for it, but it's just a confidence thing for me. But I want to talk about the difference between two real popular knots that's being used. And you can see I'll pull that bobber stopper down there to that hook. And this is the part that I wanted to talk about and leave open for some debate for you a little bit. I've done a lot of research, looking on the internet, different things, different knots guys use when they're punching grass and things like that, with the new hooks that's coming out, the bigger and stronger hooks that's made out there by the different hook companies that you use. And a lot of people are going with still the Palomar knot. They're using the snail knot. I've used the snail knot quite a bit, but I'll be very honest with you. One thing that caught my attention is once I started using the snail knot, I started losing more fish. You know, I'd stick them, get them coming, then they'd pull loose. Now, I attribute that to not getting good hook penetration, maybe getting it in the little fleshy part of the mouth and it was pulling loose on me. Just not getting a real good hook set with them, with a snail knot. And here's why I think that's happening. When your fish is coming in and he's clamping down on that, with that Palomar knot, you can see that hook is hanging straight down. And when I'm pulling up that fish's mouth, when he's closing around that, I'm sticking that fish with that Palomar knot. It's straight down in that fish's mouth, right here. He got it. When I start to set the hook and I'm coming out of there, that hook point and gap is wide open where I can get a good piece of that fish's mouth and get me a good hook set. The other thing that I didn't like about the snail knot, and this is what you can see and you can play around with it a little bit, the snail knot, when that hook hits it, and it's supposed to be an added advantage to it, but you see how that hook is popping up. You know, when that hook popping up, a lot of times I'm coming out of there, I mean, I can come out of my hand and not even get stuck. You know, at times it will, but the hook point, you can see what I'm saying. When you set the hook and that fish is closing this mouth, that hook point is all turned up. It's jacked up. You don't have as much space right there to get a good hook set, I believe. All right, now I've caught them both ways, but I just know from my own personal experience, when I'm fishing it with a Palomar and that weight hits that, it's still hanging straight, and I'm coming out of there, I'm getting stuck with that knot when I'm just trying to set that fish. Again, snail knot, a lot of guys use it. Setting the hook, that hook is going to pop up. Theory, supposed to be coming up, hitting that fish in that top of that mouth, the roof of that mouth, and you're getting that good hook set. I have had it happen. I'm not going to tell you a story about that. I have had success using it, but I did notice over a period of time I was losing more fish with the snail knot versus the old regular Palomar knot. I used the Palomar knot a long time before they was even talking about using the snail knot. I never really noticed anything. Sticking fish, fish coming to the boat. Yeah, I'm gonna lose one here and there, but not near as many as what I was doing with the snail knot. So you try it, you be the judge. I'm just kind of telling you what works good for me. I like the Palomar, and I like a bobber stopper in front of the weight and one behind it, okay, to give me a little bit of cushion where it's not balling my soft plastic up on my hook. All right, let's talk about the bait. Everybody loves the creature baits. All right, big bite baits make some great ones. The one I enjoy fishing the most has an exorbitant amount of different colors to use. Here on Caddo, I love the fighting frog. fighting frog. Got a lot of great action to it. You know, those little legs there in the water. The thing that I've found out, both me and my son fishing, flipping this a lot, we've come to find out that a color that they don't see a whole lot is a blue fleck in this fighting frog. Probably because you don't see many companies out there making beaver style bait, creature style bait in the blue fleck. You see a lot in the worms, you know, 10-inch worm, 6-inch worm, things like that. You can find them in the blue fleck, but you have a hard time finding them in the creature type bait. It looks great in that oceanic water here on Caddo. Caddo's a great June bug type lake, you know, using that color. Blue fleck is awful close to that, and it's produced well for us. Makes a big difference down here on Caddo. Blue fleck fighting frog by Big Bite. Let's talk about what it looks like and where you can kind of see the advantage of having that extra bobber stopper in there. I have that thing rigged up. I'm gonna put my bobber stopper right down there against the top part of my bait. But I got that little space in there, and you can see that I have that little space in there where that weight is hitting that bobber stopper and not crashing down on top of my soft plastic, pushing my soft plastic further down my hook. It'll do it on all hooks. It doesn't matter whether they got the keeper on it or where it's an offset or whatever. The more you fish it, the more that weight's hitting that soft plastic. It's going to push it down those hooks. Take my top one, push it down, got a nice streamlined look to it. I'm ready to go catch some of those big old Caddo bass on this setup right here. Guys, I want you to give some thought to some of the things that I talked with you about. Like I said, I'm Mark Allen here on Caddo Lake, Allen's Guide and Tour Service. I'd love to carry you out and experience some of this punching technique out there on the water. If you know the lake yourself and want to get out there and try it yourself, get in there along some of the deeper water and river runs and things like that. It's got some good hydrilla on the side. Try this punching technique. Play around with the different types of knots, whether you want to go with a snail knot or whether you want to go with a Palomar knot. My experience, Palomar is the way to go. Big bite, good equipment, can't go wrong here on Caddo Lake. Look for some more videos coming out. We're going to try to put some out, at least one every couple of weeks, talking about different techniques. Try to get some on the water footage. Today I'm just sitting here in my boat garage, just want to talk about a few things, and next time we'd like to see us putting some fish in the boat using this great technique out there on Caddo. Thank you.